Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking an in-depth look at the new MBTA Boston to Worcester route in Train Sim World 5. I've been running this route for a while now and I've got a lot to say about it. From the bustling streets of Boston to the scenic rural stretches towards Worcester, there's a lot to explore here, so let's dive into the route, the stop, the stations and everything in between. Before we start, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future reviews and gameplay. Now let's get into it. The route stretches over 45 miles and takes around 90 minutes for a full run, though there are a few shorter services. This gives you a nice blend of urban and rural running with frequent stops at stations just a few miles apart. You'll be driving some iconic MBTA stock including the HSP46 and the F40PH-3C locomotives. With a chance to experience both modern urban areas and peaceful rural environments as you head out of Boston. Along the way you'll see scenic lakes, suburban towns, and busy freight hubs like Framingham. One of the things I really appreciate about this route is the variety of stations. Starting in Boston, you're immediately immersed in a busy urban environment. You'll pass through Lansdowne, a modern station right next to some tower blocks, and Fenway Fields. It really captures the urban vibe of Boston and the kind of hustle you'd expect, but as you head out towards Worcester, things start to change. The stations become more suburban, like West Newton or Natick Central. These stations have a bit of a rundown feel about them, with some graffiti and older infrastructure. It's a notable shift, I think, and it really helps showcase the contrast between the bustling city and the quiet towns. And then as you get further out, the stations become more rural. Take Wellesley Farms, for example. The platform is so short that the train can't fully fit on it. It really gives a sense of isolation and a peaceful contrast to the busy feel of Boston. The scenery here is one of the real highlights. As you leave Boston's urban sprawl behind, you're treated to some stunning rural views. The route passes through areas with plenty of glacial lakes, particularly around Framingham and Natick. These lakes were formed during the last ice age and add a touch of serenity to the route. As you drive, the scenery shifts from dense woodlands to lakes near Framingham to more open rural landscapes near Worcester. The variety in the environment keeps the ride fresh and engaging, and I really appreciate how the route transitions from one vibe to another. The combination of urban streets, lakes and a rural experience makes an immersive experience that captures the essence of Massachusetts. Now let's talk about the scenarios and the stock that comes with the route. You get 5 scenarios, with the shortest lasting about 45 minutes and the longest being a full 90-minute run from Boston to Worcester. This makes for a nice balance depending on how much time you've got. The frequent stops along the way means that every scenario feels like a bit of a challenge, with plenty of opportunities to enjoy the varied scenery. As for the stock, you'll be driving the HSP46 diesel locomotive and the F40PH-3C diesel locomotive, both in the MBTA livery. You also get the BTC and CTC bi-level cars, along with the single level car variants, making for a good variety of train combinations. But that's not all. If you own Boston to Providence DLC, you get the AS64, and also you own the Acela DLC, you get that train that will lay onto the route as well, adding more variety to your services. I have done a full run from Providence to Boston on my channel, so be sure to check out that video if you want to see the ACS64 in action. If you're into freight and want to grab some extra DLCs to really get the full experience of this route, to activate the freight layers you'll need to pick up some additional add-ons like Sandpatch Grade, the BNSF SD78 ACE, Charming Hill, Horseshoe Curve and Cajon Pass. These DLCs are sold separately and they help fill out the freight services, especially around Framingham and the North Framingham Yard, where you'll see a lot of activity. It's definitely a bit of a downside that these layers aren't included with the base route, and that's something I hope they address in the future. That said, once you've got the necessary DLCs, it really brings them up to life and gives you the full experience. As far as the performance goes, the route is solid. On my system I was getting good frames for most of the time, sticking around 60 FPS. However, there is a noticeable drop in performance between Framingham and Worcester, where my frames dip to 35 FPS in certain sections. There are also a couple of freezes here and there, but these didn't detract too much from the experience. There's a few bugs to mention. For example, I encountered some floating cars in certain areas along the Highway 90, and at Lansdowne there's a section where the highway doesn't properly connect, which stands out as being a bit sloppy as it's easily noticeable from the train. Luckily, it's not as bad as the floating cars you experience on the San Bernardino route, and there wasn't any clipping through buildings. But this is something that could have been avoided with a little bit more attention to detail. There's also occurring issues with car shadows on the bridges, which seems to be a game bug, as I've seen this issue in the Boston to Providence route as well. Despite a few bugs and performance hiccups, the route is a solid addition to Train Symbol 5. The mixture of urban and rural scenery and varied stations and the range of locomotives and services make the route a fun experience. If you're looking for something a little bit more complex than your average commute route, this is definitely worth a try. The extra freight DLCs are a bit of a hassle to get, but they do add a lot to the experience if you're into that. Overall, it's a great route and I can't recommend it enough. Thanks for watching, and make sure to like, comment and subscribe if you want any more Train Symbol content, and I'll see you next time.